right, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking up the Alabama Crimson Tide with the boys about 2 weeks into spring practice, taking a bit of time off for the Easter weekend and back at it on Tuesday. We talked to Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama and his show, The Way It Is, Fox 97.9. As Stephen M., happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, Mark. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute.
Been a while. Yes, you're busy. I'm busy. But we will find some time and keep this going, keep this conversation, because the Alabama football talk, we need it here at Mark Rogers TV, and we need it from you. So we'll make sure that that happens. So with Alabama about a third of the way through spring practice, everybody gets those 15 sessions, and A-Day coming up on April 21st. This seems to be a storyline, Stephen, each and every year when it comes to Nick Saban, that he early in spring practice likes to play mad scientist a little bit, knows that he's got some personnel that he thinks, okay, wonder how this guy would respond at this position. Wonder how this corner would play at safety or vice versa, or this outside linebacker at safety or vice versa, a DN to outside linebacker, making those moves along the offensive line. Obviously, there's a number of pieces that you can switch around and see what the chemistry overall looks like. So what's the latest on that front concerning Nick Saban and the coaching staff?
Well, the experimenting right now going on, Mark, as you just noted there, on the offensive line, Alabama losing Bradley Bozeman to the National Football League, a 2-year starter at center. Right now, the Crimson Tide with Rosh Pierschbaker working that spot. Pierschbaker, who's played 42 career games at left guard. The last time he played at center was in high school. Pierschbaker coming out of Cedars Falls, Iowa, but does have some diversity, some versatility in his game, a very athletic guy. And Pierschbaker was actually experimented at center 2 years ago in 2016, though it did not fully pan out, excuse me, which is the reason why he was switched back to guard and Bradley Bozeman was moved up to center. But right now, on the offensive line, through 2 weeks of practice, Jonah Williams remains at left tackle. Jonah Williams remains at left tackle. Josh Casher moves over to left guard, and Casher, very interesting, he was the third team starter at center a year ago. Casher, who came to Alabama, the University of Alabama from Mobile in 2014 as one of the nation's top center prospects. So Jonah Williams at left tackle, Josh Casher at left guard, Rosh Pierschbaker at center, Nestor Cotton still holding down at right guard. And at right tackle, we have the rising sophomore Jedrick Wills out of Lexington, Kentucky, who played quite a bit last year, was number 34 on the ESPN 300 recruiting network for the 2017 class. And the reason why Wills is getting some looks now, Matt Womack, the returning starter at right tackle, hurt his foot during the offseason training period. Alabama's 6 injuries in spring, and a good bit of those guys will not be able to participate in spring, but should be back by summer going into fall camp, according to Nick Saban. So offensively, some pieces being moved around. Where the defense is concerned, because of all the defensive backs not on campus yet, Josh Jobe, Jagan Armour Davis, and Patrick Surtain, those guys not arriving until summer, the Crimson Tide kind of thin at that defensive backfield. So Nick Saban using Devontae Smith, the wide receiver who caught the game-winning touchdown pass against Georgia in the national championship venue. Devonta Smith getting some work in at that cornerback position. Now, he will not be a corner. It's not in Alabama's interest to make him a corner. But because Devonta did play some defensive back in high school, Saban just trying to build some depth there until the guys that have been recruited to play corner arrive on campus in the summer going into fall camp. So some shifting along the offensive line. Devonta Smith getting some works in the corner. Just typical Nick Saban trying to see where his depth is in relation to spring ball.